YouTube, halo, I should say, not hello, unless you're in hell, and I'll say hello to you. But anyway, I've decided to come over onto YouTube instead of doing this video over on Crackbook. And the reason that I have decided to do that is because yet again I am being downtrodden on, and I am not willing to allow people to trample all over my justice for my children and my family. And if you all come together for your justice for you and your family and stop treading on other people that also need their voices heard. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I first ever came out in the media and was known as a result of Benefit Britain. I can probably just zoom that in there for you. So as you can see, this was October 2010 when George Osborne announced that we would no longer be on income support and we would all be moved over to universal credits. And they stated that those that were on benefits, disability, sick benefit, anything like that, were all going to move. And at the time, so people who were not on benefits, let me just move myself up. So people who are not on and haven't been on government benefits will not realise that over the consecutive years there was a shift from people being paid weekly. So people will know that people used to be paid by gyros. So basically the benefit system started because was done in a way where they used to come into your home, and if you literally didn't have any money. So I'm about to hit a week where I have absolute zero cash in the bank. I think it's about £12. And universal credits will kick in on the 18th of the month. And then child benefit will come in on the day before the payment. So I've got 1 week where I've got to officially freefall. Usually I don't allow for this gap to happen in this way. However, it's felt that way because things are paid for every 4 weeks or every month. So what they did is they created a system called universal credits. Now, universal credits is part of the globalism's plan to put everybody onto the universal credits, right? A universal income for everybody, so nobody falls through the cracks. So they're thinking and saying, what the hell? Elon Musk's going, what the hell? So anyway, I'm not on TikTok. I am on YouTube, and the platform obviously belongs to Gmail, Google, and those people. So most people obviously knew me as Kellie Cotton because that was my name. It was my divorce name. Today marks the celebration of 29 years of me being a mum. And I'm angry. And I'm hurt. And I'm pissed off. And this morning I decided that I was going to feel the pain and do it anyway. So today is Liam's birthday. Liam is 29 today, and I'm not with him. He is not one of my children that was taken, but he is one of my children that people have come in between. I would like to set the record straight with the UK government, UK Parliament, and UK system that exists, and to every system that exists around the world. I am a woman. I am a mother, and I am a grandmother. I currently don't have a car registered, but I have 6 children registered to the UK Department for their birth certificates. That means to our said state that they believe that our children belong to the state. Our children do not belong to the state. I don't choose to be on government benefit right now, by the way. For those that remember, the state turned around and said that I put my career before my children's needs and I would palm them off onto the state. The irony is at that particular point, I'd made the decision that I wouldn't be able to step up Britain. They were going to do this anyway, and I was going snowboarding with my 4 children. We have hypermobility EDS, and when you actually have a real condition and you're not faking the system, as Dr. Bose stated for the social worker, that hypermobility EDS was one of the easiest of conditions for somebody to claim to have. Does your thumb do this? If your thumb does this, you are a genetic mutation. You have been mutated somewhere along your DNA with all of the amount of experimentation that goes on with DNA. Is it generibula, whatever it is? I do know what it's called, but at this particular point, I would like to stay in this zone than access my intellectual brain and remember stupid little words like misfeasance in public office, malfeasance in public office, and non-misfeasance in public office, miscarriage of justice, and perverting the course of justice. Under land, air, and water law, I believe committing a crime of such offence puts people into prison for 10 to 25 years. Now, it's my son's birthday today. And I've taken the time to sit and feel about how I feel that 29 years later, that I'm not getting up to feed the chooks, make sure the horses are okay, having a nice little canter down the front of the beach, getting on with our veg in the day that's going to be prepared for the seasons. Probably maybe still writing books, having all of my children around, and even those that have grown up, you know, knowing full well that mum is the base for them for the rest of their life. It doesn't matter where they go in the world, if anything goes wrong, mum will be there. I made a decision when my son was born that he would never, ever, ever feel the way that I did, that my mum wasn't there. And I made it very clear that even though I have not chosen to have a baby, I have never ever had the time in my life to meet somebody and go, hey, would you like children? Unfortunately, I have been a victim of said child abuse and grooming, not by adults, but by children, by people that were older than me. Children are out there stabbing each other right now, and people can't get their heads around that grown boys will jump on a grown girl or a young girl. One thing the judge did mention, he said, because in his opinion, that I didn't, but I did, have the correct help at the time that I disclosed childhood sexual abuse and grooming at the age of 11. I have been blocked by Portsmouth Police and Hampshire Constabulary online, and I'm trying to decide right now whether or not I need to protect the two boys that are at home with me, or whether they're protecting their own asses because they realise how they are involved in the kidnap of Aaron and Faith, intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know whether somebody sat down and made the decision that I was not allowed to come through, and as the other article says, I will challenge Britain. This article makes it very, very, very clear that when I came out in the first article, that I took a lot of backlash. A lot of people slagging me off all over football sites, people making jibs and jibes on how somebody like me shouldn't be allowed to have children. Somebody like me who's very, very loving, very caring, have a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy, and I can sympathise with many situations, unfortunately. I have a notification from, oh, they're all coming through on LinkedIn right now, aren't they? They're all coming through on LinkedIn. So anyway, I am on many platforms. I am on LinkedIn, I am on YouTube, I am on Facebook. However, since I very, very first started to panic on the basis that I hadn't left the country in 2010, knowing full well that lockdown was going to happen and the globalism reset was going to go ahead. The state didn't let me leave. Luckily, it's in the paperwork. But today I'm slightly pissed off, and I would like to bring a fact forward that allowed for Aaron and Faith to be taken in the first place. My son was born on this date 29 years ago, when he was 7 months old, my body, for hypermobility after carrying a child and previously having another child vacuumed out of my womb, had finally taken its toll. I had ended up in hospital with a Chiari drop, as we know, and I was ignored and taken to a psychiatric unit. I was there for 13 weeks. My son was taken off of my breast, but he remained with his dad at home, who was currently in the military, with the support of my mum and the army. The army made a lot of derogatory comments about me at this time, telling James, my husband at the time, how he should get away from this psychopath. Get away from the nutter. Leave the nutter. Now, he was married to me. The first man, I had a child with, allowed for the state to vacuum my baby and murder it out my womb. The husband, James, allowed for the state to lock me up on a open prison psychiatric unit, drug me with so many fucking drugs that when my friend Belinda come to see me, she couldn't come again. My very friend Belinda, who was adopted herself and raped and sexually abused by her adoptive parents. He allowed for me to be in there until Christmas Eve, when he finally got me out. Now, I wasn't in there because I had mental health. I was in there because I had a pathological condition and had not been diagnosed at the time. It's a very horrible place being in there when you've got transgender in there locked up, having rods put onto their head, and you've got old women walking around going, "Have you got a sickie? Have you got a sickie for me?" And she used to do that all day. I was a non-smoker. But we were able to go and play ping pong in the little square in the middle. This was Frimley Park Hospital. That was when Liam was 6 months old, which was in 1990, cross 7-8. After Aaron and Faith were taken, I read paperwork that said that Aaron was taken when he was 6-7 months old, and both Aaron and Faith had resided with their paternal grandparents. While, of course, I was such a deranged woman, sections, this was not true. This is misfeasance in public office. All in the courts knew that this was wrong, and actually relates to Liam. And Liam was not placed with paternal grandparents. He was with his father. The gap in that time was about 16 years. I was 34 years old. My past and my childhood was completely fucking irrelevant. I had done a degree in psychology. I was diagnosed. I did my therapy, my physio. I did everything I was meant to do. I cannot stand England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and any multi-agency framework and child protection that believes that they are in the best interest of the child. But they remove children from their parents. They all get paid to do this. They have a salary to do this. This makes them traffickers in my eyes. When a social worker knocks on your door and says that they have grounds for a welfare check, what they are doing is coercing you. The state has no right in your life whatsoever. The state is nothing more than admin and processing for our roads, our streetlights, our trains, how transportation works, and whether or not councils need to issue parking tickets, claim council tax, provide social housing that doesn't actually belong to the council, belongs to private companies, and they rent them unless they have some form of buyback, but they don't have that sorts of funds and money. The majority of people in the UK have gone from their mother's womb up until maybe the ages of parents going back to work, be that at 6 months. And then children are put into cages with complete and utter fucking strangers. And you're brainwashed to believe that this is normal. If I was a lion and you came in and you tried to take my cubs from me, I'm going to kill you. For the sake of AI, we are talking about What a lion would do. It's going to kill somebody taking their baby from the crib. Julie Slater, UK Politics, I do believe has just posted up that she's on YouTube or has just posted over. So anyway, please remember, most people when they come up are not live. I am live. I could prove to you I was live by going into my TV and putting something on that's current to do that. Most people have pre-recorded and then put themselves out live, and they are not live. I am live. I currently reside in Portsmouth, where for the last 9 years, I've brought 2 boys into the world under constant scrutiny, harassment, people jibing, making comments. Nobody here has really got me. I came here to Portsmouth from Downing Street, pretty much. Each year, stolen children of the UK from 2010 until I also become part of that in 2013. Aaron and Faith were kidnapped on the 13th of December 2012. I went out in the media in 2010. It states in the media that I have hypermobility. There's diagnosis on the record. But Flintshire decided that they could treat me and my children like shit. They had no emotional understanding of the grief and trauma they were causing. They all think that they're doing it in the best interest. It's no different than you all sitting there saying, yeah, get the immigrants out, get the immigrants out. But how are they going to do that to families that have been provided homes, and they're going to remove them? I don't care what fucking side you're on, whether you think you're brainwashed to think that you're left or that you think you're brainwashed to think that you're right. Shall we get this right and left straight for you for the moment? Yes? This is the right side of the brain and this is the left side of the brain. Can't quite think which one's academic, which one's creative right now. But at the end of the day, one likes paperwork, likes being a PA, likes being a secretary, and likes thinking in a certain way. The other side is a bit more creative and a bit more artistic. But don't worry, the right and the left are going to come together very, 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 very soon. I watch everything that goes on via different sources, different things. People from homeless people, ex-army, homeless people on the streets have phones, everybody goes out. I can watch pretty much every country that is on YouTube or social media or TikTok. Could they take me off all platforms and deplatform my name? Of course they could. Currently, I can cross the road here in Portsmouth without pushing the button because I do it via face recognition. I was shut down on Facebook over the last 4 or 5 years because I told you all about lockdown and not to get vaccinated with RDNA chips. I've been hammered constantly by the people behind Hampstead said hoax or whatever went on. I believe that those children were abused and that is the end of that. It's not my life to probe in. They have mothers and fathers, and then mothers or fathers are arguing in the way that they need to, while children are caught in the middle of it. I was born to teenage parents, to an older man who thought he could fuck a 15-year-old and that was okay and get her knocked up. I'm sure it was very romantic, but the age of consent is 18 in this country for a reason. I don't think I have this amazing glory life and I'm here to tell you all what to do and how to do it. I started Step Up Britain because I was sick and tired of seeing the amount of you at the job centres being told, oh, you've got this or you've got that or you've got this. You were being labelled like a tin of fucking beans. I was sick and tired of seeing people with Down syndrome being used to pack bags up when they've got more gifts than most of the freaking MPs in this country. Now, it worked last weekend as the King met with China. I love China, by the way. I love how far the Eastern countries have come with their trains and their buses. But I come from a generation of what you would all call Generation X. and we're aware of the Terminator, and we're aware of AI, and we were aware of what was once considered futuristic that is now about to dominate and take over the entire fucking world. AI has about 1,800 and something days before it becomes completely neutral. That means that it's learned everything that it needs to learn from you guys, from when you all put Alexa in your phones, in your homes, smart meters in your phones. This phone can record me at any point, listen to my feet, listen to me at any point. I went and did a live down at the police station to show you that I was stood on a post and the cameras were all pointing in different directions. But did you know through the frequency that they could still see me? They don't need your phones to see through walls into your home anymore. We are entering into surveillance city like China. But then also very much you will own nothing and be happy. I would like to own my land, build my home, and, raise my family. My family. My womb. Yeah? The fathers impregnated me and I carried children, and I would like to show them the world. I don't wish to be locked down and told that I've got to live this way, do this, because that is wrong. We're free. Right now, you could be inspired to get on a plane and go to... Now, this is the problem, isn't it? People who can afford to book a ticket and fly, who have passports, and then there are those that have got to get into the water, strap their bags and swim or get a boat to where they want to go to. I laughed and joked about swimming from Portsmouth to the Isle of Wight and whether I would actually be allowed, or whether it has to be an organised and approved event, or if I could just feel like just getting in and swimming. We are in a grid prison. There is no off the grid. Unless you understand the difference between capitalism, communism, globalism, the left, the right, liberalism, Labour, Conservatives. Now, people are waiting for me to put some shoes and a dress on to see where I lie. How? Is my dress going to be below my knees? Will I have my cleavage out or boobs out or anything like that? They want to know, am I liberal, boobs out, ooh, girls? Or am I a little bit conservative? Or am I really hardworking? You can't put people in them boxes. We are all spiritual beings here to have a human experience. There are only two genders, male and female, unless you're born a Madaphriite. But predominantly they will choose on whether you have ovaries, on what sex you will take. I am sick and tired of all this potty, shitty stuff going on, and people owning the labels and diagnoses like that's their identity. I may have a genetic mutation and it may be very hindering to me, but what people have never ever asked me is how it actually affects me. Everybody has pointed fingers. Kelly, you skate, there must be nothing wrong with you. When I'm laying down and I'm completely gone with the Chiari and everything really hurts. Oh, you're lazy. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. But I'm sick and tired of social workers who come straight out of school, who have never carried a child, never given a birth. I am sick and tired of all these people on TV that have their careers because they don't have children. I came into a world in success resources of a lot of people who are classed as the millennials, who didn't have children, who now do. Their children are predominantly 6, 7, 8. Some of them have got, coming into their teenage years like Aaron and Faith are. I just want to be a mum. I just want to be with a man that I get to be the backbone of that family, and we get to build our legacy as a family together. And that's all I choose to be. I don't choose to be anything else. But it's how, as a mother and a father, that you provide for your children. And if your parents don't teach you how to make money, and school doesn't, then you will either learn how to be a thief and take from others, or you have to really, really, really get in there and learn how money works. Even the king's not allowed to play Monopoly. The king, our said king, not my king, Jesus' king, has a gun to his head from Russia, a knife to his throat by China, and a noose round his neck by America. He's a coward and a pussy. And so is our government. So is the American deep state, CIA, MIA, 5A, whatever you want to call yourself. You are all nothing more than agents of the state, and your job is about to be replaced by AI agents, and people are about to find out how flawed the courts, the multi-agency framework, and all the paperwork that puts together, and it doesn't matter what it is. Even your CV will not represent your true self. Now people can say, hey, we just want a job done and we don't want your personality in the office. Well, don't go working for the state then. All I can say is all people in England right now need to work out is the roads, transportation, trains, how people can live, settle in a home, have their right to a private life, their right to a family, and how we police people who want to steal, murder, and hurt people. Now, it seems to be okay for the government to do this. They're allowed to rape and pillage and murder, take people's lands and homes and things like that, and they've been doing it for years. It was the story of Jesus and Jesus coming into this world that caused for Herod to declare to tax the nation. Kill all under 2-year-olds. And that's the world we still live in. Dare you become somebody. Dare you inspire people. Do you know why I wouldn't make it in to speak in London? Because like the police said, my voice is too powerful. They'll shoot me. You can go on to this live when Donald Trump was here in Portsmouth for the D-Day event, when the police knocked on my door, nothing to do with my life or anything that I had done, all because of anti-Trump people. Anti-Trump people cause me shit with Aaron and Faith, and they have caused me shit with my boys here. Now, in the name of Jesus Christ, I will bind every person around my family life. Any person that is in between me and my blood children, born from my womb, born through my legs, carried by me, nurtured and fed by me. Any person in between my relationship with me and my children will burn in hell in the name of Jesus Christ. Don't ever come in between a mother and her children. Don't ever come in between a father and their children. And don't ever come in between a man and a woman and their relationship. Do you understand? Stay out of families' businesses and get on with cleaning the fucking streets, putting the lights up for us, so us families can have nice walks in this world and see the world for the beauty that it is. The world's not the problem. The planet not the problem. The fucking people disgust me. Especially here in not said Great Britain, where they've been raised by the state, fed on cereals, poisoned through their foods, and they look like something on that programme that will take you and show you what you could have been had you had eaten healthy and right. I am sick of the poisoning of our foods. I am sick of the pollution in our water. I am pissed off with the engineering, all the fucking dimming shit, all the pollution in the sky. Now, stop fucking about, and that's to every MP, to every person who thinks they have some form of governance, authority, or something in this world. As for your tax, take your fucking tax, shove it up your ass. Now, I am willing to contribute to my hometown, my place of birth. I'm willing to invest. I am willing to put my time in, and I am willing to make it a better, greater place than when I first ever got here. Because when I was here, it's a right shithole. But we've just had a big stab-in on a day that I'm in town with my children. Luckily, my children's father was with us. We've had a big stab-in here at the pharmacy. And we finally have the police in the pharmacy seeing how many people are being drugged. Now, I've refused prescription medication because it means I would live on tramadol, morphine and things like that. That puts me in a wheelchair. I'm not interested. Now, the only way we're going to get health is for the farmers on Monday to make a stand that they will no longer be using pesticides and all this shit on it. Now, we, the people, should be able to sustain ourselves. Currently, we are codependent on our government. We are codependent on the system, and we are codependent on them for our food, the roof over our head, and the incomes coming in. But right now, government isn't going to exist. So we, the people, have really got to come together and decide where it all goes from here. Because if not, then the oligarchs are all going to come in and take over, and it will be a communist state. So all I would say is people need to really work out, including myself, where you are and where you want to be and close the gap. And nobody has the right to even ask you who you are. Now, I believe there's a code of ethics. You're not going to walk down the street naked even though we can. Yeah, every single one of us could wake up in the morning, not put clothes on and get on with our day, like the woman that decided to parade herself looking pretty much naked even though she had clothes on. We can do that. But we have clothes and we have shoes. But how they're being made, people being forced to work in factories and Amazons, people being forced to get up and go to work like slaves, not even for a fair wage, not even for a decent pay, not even for what? The majority of Great Britain is living under, oh, one of the mice just come out to say hello. You know, the majority of Great Britain is living on about 36,000 a year, where majority of diversity, LGBTQT, what you want to be me, are being given positions where they're being paid 150,000 a month to do what? Diversity. As far as I'm concerned, diversity is a dance crew. I love people. I'm not bothered where you're from. In fact, I'm more interested where you're from. It's whether you're going to steal from me. Now, that doesn't matter if a white man comes into my house, or an African man, or a woman, or a child. I don't care who you are. A thief is a thief. Somebody that can't learn from their mistakes. AI can. Now, I should be today celebrating my son's birthday. Just like back in 2011, after launching Challenge Britain, the day before my son's birthday, I went to Tesco's in Leyland. I reversed out of the parking space and an off-duty police officer cracked straight into the side of my car. I whiplashed and bulged my discs, just a something on having hypermobility. I was meant to be going paintballing with my son the next day, and I had to step back, and his dad stepped in for me and went and did all the paintballing. I was there, I ran the children around, blah, 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 blah. But then I struggled, because then I was struggling to pick car seats up and things like that. And then things hit. Then my mum wanted me to move down south, my dad wanted me to move down south, and I ended up at Save the Family. And I slipped my discs again. All I needed was childcare for my children. Not my mum, not my dad, not my aunties, my uncles, my cousins, or my family could even be family to me. My family made me feel sick. But my family were not taught family values. And the majority of us, once our grandparents had gone, there was no family. There was no more Saturdays having films with your cousins. There was no more Christmases. No more gatherings at the social club for families to come together. Why do you think they've got a problem with migration? Not because they're bringing over people to do contracts, because they want to bring their families with them and give their families a better life. They don't want family. Family means gangster. They want you women to be a womb for the state so they can create more of their soldiers. Do you know what they're doing to your children now? Do you want to know what they do to your children in school? They all have to stand there and go. How many schools have been locked down? How many parents haven't even been told that their children are under tables? My boys are staying with me. They're not going to the state. They're not going to strangers. I'm not taking the risk that somebody could do something. But let me get one thing clear. The way that this world is going right now, when I'm out and about, out of the safety of my home, any person steps to mug me or take anything from me because you didn't listen and you've lost your job, it's been replaced by AI, won't come robbing from me. And if I choose to get back to Step Up Britain, make money, do what I need to do, that gives people no right to take and steal from me. Now, we all have the same opportunity every day to wake up and live in purpose, passion, and keep our principles and morals intact and do not conform to the ways of the world. I have had enough of everything that I am seeing. I have had enough of seeing how dead things are. Now, here is getting pretty beautiful as families are starting to stick together and families are starting to come out. And I'm seeing more fathers walking their wives to their clubs, taking their families out. And I love it. I love it. When I see a dad, mum, children, grandparents, their families walking down the road, I love it. And I want to see more. But this, happy birthday to my son Liam and Daniel, who had his birthday, Aaron, who had his birthday on Monday. I miss you all so much.